A notorious Arizona prosecutor gets demoted. That's what we're talking about today on this episode of Watching the Watchers. Maricopa County Prosecutor Juan Martinez got demoted. Juan Martinez, if you don't remember him, he was the prosecutor assigned to the Jodie Arias case. He's with the Capital Litigation Bureau for Maricopa County. The Capital Litigation, those are the prosecutors who are seeking the death penalty or potentially seeking the death penalty in egregious cases. Jodie Arias was convicted of murdering her boyfriend. Very gruesome case. Juan Martinez was the prosecutor assigned, published a book. Over the course of his tenure with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, he's been subject to a number of different bar complaints. Bar complaints are what happen when an attorney is accused of unethical conduct or misconduct or misbehavior or some sort of violation that is outside of the conduct that is appropriate for an attorney. Mr. Martinez has had several of those complaints. This article from the Phoenix New Times, according to journalist Meg O'Connor, who does great work synthesizing this information from a number of different places, goes through and finds that Mr. Martinez was subject of 7 bar complaints over the last 4 years. The most recent being a complaint by the State Bar of Arizona, which is the actual investigating sort of committee that does the investigation and the attorney discipline throughout our state. They filed a complaint against him specifically stemming from the actual Jodie Arias case, saying that Mr. Martinez engaged in a sexual relationship with a blogger, used that blogger to dig up information about a juror who was on the Arias sentencing panel, and then tried to get that juror dismissed. He also says that he was trying to get a read. This complaint says that Mr. Martinez was trying to get a read on how other jurors may be deciding, how they may be leaning, so that he could potentially influence them. And then when asked about it, lied about it in a deposition. He has had many complaints against him from other colleagues saying that he was making inappropriate sexual remarks. Anyways, long story short, this guy was potentially being protected by Mr. Montgomery. What ended up happening is, according to this article, Maricopa County attorney taxpayers have paid over $169,000 to represent, to protect Mr. Martinez, and that comes out of taxpayer dollars. Well, Mr. Montgomery, who was just appointed to the Arizona Supreme Court, was kind of sitting on the case, in my opinion. You know, there was some indication that he was not giving him raise or bonus pays or performance pays or whatever they do at the county attorney's office. But Mr. Montgomery got appointed to the Arizona Supreme Court. So now the interim county attorney, Rachel Mitchell, who you may remember from the Kavanaugh hearings, she gets appointed to fill in. She takes the place. And now Juan Martinez, without kind of the protection of Mr. Montgomery, gets demoted. So now he drops from the Capital Litigation Bureau to the Auto Theft Bureau, which is kind of a lower level offense. So by many, that's kind of considered a demotion. Whether Mr. Martinez agrees or not, whether Rachel Mitchell agrees or not, that's for them to comment on. But Miss Mitchell says that this is going to be good. It's going to be a good opportunity for Mr. Martinez to now deal with these numerous complaints. So that's what's going on out of the county attorney's office. Anytime we see a shift like this, when the county attorney gets appointed to the Supreme Court, we have interim county attorneys, we have a number of other people kind of vying for that position prior to the new elections. So we're going to see these shifts, and it's very interesting to follow along. You can see these prosecutors kind of move around in terms of what crimes they're going to be prosecuting, what some of the policies are going to be in place, what type of conduct is protected, what type of conduct is not, what are the ramifications, what are the repercussions for misconduct within the county attorney's office. So we're seeing a little bit of shift there. We'll see what happens. Of course, Mr. Martinez is entitled to his proper due process. He's entitled to have his hearing with the State Bar. We'll see where that investigation goes. Mr. Montgomery, I made a different video about that, is also under investigation from the State Bar. They appointed, and the Supreme Court itself appointed, an independent bar counsel to investigate the complaints that were made against him for his cover-up or his alleged cover-up or misconduct involving preventing records from coming out against Juan Martinez. And Juan Martinez's case is also, the complaint is also being investigated by that independent bar counsel at this point in time. So a lot of moving things, a lot of moving parts happening around. We're going to see where the investigation goes. Of course, these are just allegations at at this point. Lawyers get bar complaints all the time, and a lot of them just go away. So we'll see what happens, but what we're doing here on Watching the Watchers is we're bringing you the news, we're making our comments on it, we're going to follow it along so you don't have to. We'll keep an eye out on both the complaints against Mr. Martinez and Mr. Montgomery. Until we know more, be sure to hit the subscribe button so we can bring you news on that misconduct. Until the next time, thanks for watching.